global and local, is constantly changing. Never more so than at the beginning of this new century. New challenges and opportunities are presenting themselves to government, business and individuals alike. In response to these, Australians are needing to adapt their attitudes and reactions to the economic and social needs of our community.
The aim of WorkVentures over the last 20 years has been to enable communities and individuals to create a future for themselves through creating jobs and through enabling people to find the kind of jobs that give them meaning and purpose in their lives.
WorkVentures is out there responding to real needs in communities, and those needs seem to have dropped off the agenda of a lot of organisations. One of their real strengths is their ability to muster resources, to bring people together from government, from business, and importantly from the community.
Their ways and means are sometimes a bit unconventional because they look outside the square. Most importantly, they come up with innovative solutions that work, not just from a social perspective, but as good business as well.
In the mid-80s, repair of component parts for computers and peripherals was not the major focus of the large organisations here in Australia. Most of those large organisations had their own in-house repair operations purely out of necessity, and they weren't very profitable. Most of the low-level stuff was done in those centres. The high-level, more specialised repairs were sent offshore. As a business, we asked ourselves, firstly, can we do those specialised repairs? But more importantly, could we make it a profitable business?
It was necessary for WorkVentures to take an enterprising approach and a calculated risk to offer repair services to the major manufacturers.
We realised that the computer repair industry required people with specialised skills. In response, we set up an electronics training program. What we aim to do is support the person from unemployment through traineeship into employment.
Circ is the Sydney iTech Repair Centre. We currently have a staff of 110. We process around about 8,000 jobs or repairs per month, and we currently do this for three major customers, that being Fujitsu, IBM and NCR.
How the trainees benefit is by going on industry visits to see how the real world operates. How the employer benefits is by getting people specifically skilled to meet their needs.
Through their partnership with CERC, WorkVentures recognised an industry need. The electronics repair business was failing. They also recognised a social need. An unemployed person given half a chance and the right training can do a damn good job.
The business equipment repair market in Australia today continues to expand. CERC's partnership with WorkVentures places them both at the forefront of this growth industry. For every small business that makes it through the first 2 years, 4 businesses do not.
In 1991 I had an idea to start a business, but I had no idea whether it would work or not. I had lots of enthusiasm, but I had no training whatsoever in how to run a small business.
Well, the reality for most people who start their own business and fail is that they don't end up where they started off from, but they're way back. They've lost their savings, they've lost their house, they've lost their property, they've lost their confidence, their self-esteem, and they're back on the unemployment queue.
Recognising the importance of small business for creating new jobs, WorkVentures established SBEC, the Sydney Business Enterprise Centre. SBEC is a source of practical support to existing and new small businesses. One unique undertaking is its Business Incubator program.
Well, the idea of the incubator is that it's an alternative approach to job creation. It provides a really practical support to help people to help themselves. What we're wanting to do is help them to become a success and not just another statistic.
morning, Discovery. Yes, Jonathan or Greg? I'll just transfer you straight through.
ASPEC and the incubator system has actually been probably one of the most fundamental parts of our business in terms of setting it up. Because of the nature of the place in terms of how short the lease is and the conveniences that we have here, photocopying, etc., the secretarial services, marketing expertise, the people here are very, very professional, and that is on hand here. There are people who have years and years of experience in that regard.
Since its inception in 1987, ASPEC has assisted over 1,900 small businesses in the important start-up phase. ASPEC also assists small business operating in the wider world through its running of seminars, training, workshops and one-on-one advice to business owners.
I'm part of a network of business professionals who work with WorkVentures. I also run a business of my own. We meet with small business people either on a one-to-one basis or in small groups, and we try and match the various volunteers with the needs of the people approaching WorkVentures with a range of problems and a range of issues.
For some people that might seem like an odd idea. It's a different way of doing business because it's not about competition but cooperation.
In the last 9 years we've created over 4,000 different designs, and we have 1,500 distribution venues across Australia. The result is that Avantcard now has 30 employees and it's a multi-million-dollar company.
In 1997, the Commonwealth Government decided to close down the CS and take all of the employment services that community organisations like ourselves and many other agencies were providing and offer them up for a national tender. The model the government was proposing was likely to mean that major international companies were going to move into the employment services field and many small organisations would go to the wall. We had to do something about that.
That something was to create a network of employment service providers that would continue to assist job seekers and employers in need from within their own local communities. WorkVentures was involved in bringing together representatives from a broad range of small and mid-sized employment and training organisations.
The goal was quite simple, but the process was quite a lot more complicated. It's very tough when you're involving people with real passion who have very different political, religious and social philosophies to get them to work together. For us, the key challenge was finding common ground. We recognised that we shared a common threat. Secondly, we began to realise that there were values we all held in common, values of putting people first. And thirdly, we saw that there were unique capabilities that each organisation could bring to the table that would make us a far stronger network if we could put our pride aside and learn from each other. United, we saw we had a future. Divided, we recognised there was little hope at all for us.
The result is WorkVentures, a national network of not-for-profit employment organisations which across Australia assist some 20,000 people every year to find jobs through a network of our 44 member organisations dedicated to that task.
Both WorkVentures and WorkVentures are committed to community building. It's much more than just placing somebody in a job. The way we do this is by helping create partnerships, partnerships that involve business, government and the community. Unemployment is much too big a problem for any one sector to solve on its own.
It works in two ways. Firstly, an unemployed person can be assisted to change career direction, to update skills or perhaps learn new ones. But most importantly, an employer can be assured that they're going to be provided with a workforce that's been trained to their way of doing business.
WorkVentures adds a dimension that all too often is missing. It's not about numbers, it's about quality of care.
They're not about handouts, they're about helping people to help themselves.
They really do achieve a profitable merger between business and communities. What has really impressed me with WorkVentures in our dealings with them has been their high level of business acumen, their ability to cope with change and the very practical responses that they produce to those social and employment problems out there.
Innovation, cooperation, enterprise and people. These are the ingredients that enable WorkVentures to continue building communities that work now and for the future.